Hey there, toy collector friends and Star Trek fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the time traveling toy collector, and this is the Hero Collector Eaglemoss USS Enterprise NCC 1701B, direct from the Hero Collector XL range of Star Trek Starships, but also direct from the first of the Next Generation movie series, Star Trek Generations. This is, I have to open with saying, and I feel a bit biased again, I think it's one of my favorite under-examined USS Enterprise models. I really do. Now, it's a long beast, so I'm going to manipulate it. Unlike some of my other videos, I'm going to manipulate it by hand, so you get a chance to see its full shape as best as we can do. Let me take it back a little bit there, so you can really see some of that surface detailing of the saucer section there. It's an Excelsior Class starship, modelled after and indeed using, I would suggest, much of the same modelling as the USS Excelsior as it appeared in earlier Star Trek films. So I'll just turn it around so you can get to see that elongated sense of the bridge there. You can there see the nacelles coming into shot, where there's that lovely translucent blue. You can get a really good look at the top of the secondary hull, as well as seeing some of those impulse engines there. I'm actually going to sort of hold it there for a second, with a view that let me take it down so we can see it from this angle. It is, I mean, obviously it's an XL ship. You can get a sense of just how XL it is in terms of its length. There's beautiful use of the translucent blue plastic in the nacelles to really pop when it's given that lighting effect. I really, I'm going to sound like a broken record a bit when I'm talking about Enterprises, but I really love this model. I'm going to try and get a bit more of a good side view here. I will lift it up in a second to give you a much closer examination, but you can see the detailing. I hope you can see the detailing on the secondary hull there, as well as all of that really excellent detailing that we get on the saucer section. Let me come in quite close on the saucer section before we pick the thing up, so you can see just how meticulous Hero Collector have been in putting this together for us. Yeah, it gets very little screen time. The Enterprise-B gets very little screen time, which I think is a crying shame. I know some people, I'm picking it up, so bear with me. I know some people are not a fan. So let me just move the stand back. Apologies for my elephantine fingers getting in the way. But I know, here we go. So let's have a look at that saucer section close up. I know some people are not a fan of this design, because it's quite lengthy. It's quite, some might argue it's quite bulky. It doesn't look particularly graceful, perhaps. I'm just looking at that nice metallic blue shine around the bridge section, the back end of the saucer section. You can see the bridge there. The phaser banks are sort of pulled out in gold. Yeah, I really like this model. Let's swing it around a bit so we can see those impulse engines. You can see that the level of detailing that Hero Collector have gone to town with on this. The escape pods around the edge there, I believe they're the escape pods around the edge of the bridge area. This is a beautiful ship. As I say, it's not given an awful lot of screen time, nor is it revisited particularly well. These nacelles are really lengthy. They don't lend themselves. This is possibly why it's given so little screen time, because it's a nightmare to get into a shot. If I pull out, then we run the risk of you not seeing the level of detail that I'd like you to see. So we can see, I'll carry on round and then I'm going to turn it over a little bit. The nacelles don't really offer us too much new to look at. So let me flip it for you. So you can see we have Enterprise there. The underside, the detailing of the underside is beautiful. You can really see the secondary hull popping in terms of the detail it's got there. I think one of the design curses for this particular vessel, where we can see the Starship USS Enterprise, United Federation of Planets detailing on the side there. I'm sure some will tell me that the lettering is in inconsistent size with the original. It works for me, you know, but if you don't like it, I fully understand that. That's the beauty of your opinion. But the detailing under here, if that's the captain's yacht, it's a very strange shape. That's all I can say to that. NCC 1701B, more phaser banks, nicely pulled out with the gold. Yeah, the throat, the neck section is, what can I say? It's just asking to be struck by a ribbon of unfettered energy, really, isn't it? It is the sort of odd, it's the oddity of the Enterprises, I suppose, in some respects, because it does really make for an obvious target. We also have the notorious emitter array down here, which is set quite far back. I don't know if how well you can see it, to be honest. It's set quite, as I wreck the set, quite far back into that hull, and it would be lovely if I could get some light on it. There we go. So you can see there that the array is the actual dish itself is pulled out in some translucent plastic there, just to give it an additional layer of colorization and texture. And you know, alas for Captain Kirk, dare I mention it, spoilers lie ahead, people, but he elects to go down there to try and fix that on the ill-fated whiz around the solar system on board the Enterprise-B and its maiden flight. But you know, again, let me take it right back so you can see what we're talking. I mean, these, you know, my hands are not small. My hands are not small, and I've been doing some ship restoration, so I'm very mindful they're a bit dirty, but I'm going to be giving this a clean once we've finished filming it. But this is a very, very lengthy piece of craft work here that we got from Hero Collector, and you can kind of see the reverse engineering that's taken place, because obviously when this made its debut, I say obviously, you might not be aware, but when this made its debut on the silver screen, as it were, Star Trek: The Next Generation had just sort of ground to a halt, and this was the Next Generation crew's first feature film, and so the USS Enterprise-D, which was the hero ship of Star Trek: The Next Generation, was very well established. Was very, very well established with that series after 7 years of TV. So we had seen, another spoiler potentially, in the Next Generation series, a brief encounter with the USS Enterprise-C. And you can kind of see, and we'll look at this when we look at the C and the D in the fullness of time, the lineage of the USS Enterprise and how the nacelle structure has reflected and evolved over time, and the same with the saucer section, although of course it has technically been utterly reverse engineered, because we had the A, then we went to the D, then we came to the C, and then we had the B to fill in the gap, and later on the screen we get the J, if I remember rightly, and I'll tell you about my woes with the Enterprise J when the time comes to look at it. But yeah, so hopefully, whilst I'm babbling on about the history of the ship, you're getting a really good opportunity to look at that Enterprise-B much more closely than perhaps some of the still photographs that you may have seen of it would have given you an opportunity to do. I really, really like the ship. I mean, that's probably coming across. Let's not pretend it's not coming across. Do I understand why some people don't like it? Yes and no, I suppose. I mean, I think it is the sort of ship that it would be quite easy to not like. It has a very distinct kind of design, and I fully appreciate that. Let me re-establish the set here and stand the ship back on it. Again, it's one of those heart-stopping moments as I try to reconnect it all and not send it plummeting to the ground. So yeah, I think I've managed to do that without too much pain and heartache. So let me lock that into place there. But I really think that you know, Eagle Moss the XL range, they do a sterling job with this. They really do, for my money. And if you were to ask me, would I recommend the USS Enterprise-B for somebody who wanted to collect the Starships collection from Hero Collector, I could only say yes. I could only say yes. The level of detailing is, for my money, for my buck, exceptional. I love how they put it together. I love how it stands on its little plastic holder. So when you have them on display, as I do, I have the Enterprises, the key hero ships, on display, and I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's very hard to get this entire ship in focus at once, as you've seen, because it is so long. It's very similar with the Enterprise E, which replaces the D in the fullness of time. Again, I'll try and keep this spoiler free when it comes to talking about the history of the Enterprise through time. Yeah, I really like this ship. I think it's a shame we don't get more adventures on the Enterprise-B, and who knows, as more Star Trek series play out over time, there may be an opportunity to see what happened to the Enterprise-B after that maiden voyage. There's not an awful lot that I've come across. There may be some novelizations. I won't pretend I'm that immersed in the fandom. Apologies, but I'm not that immersed in the fandom. But I do love the model collection from Hero Collector. Some have been more problematic than others, with a couple of fragilities around the nacelles. And again, I would suggest that this ship, XL though it is, suffers from the same vulnerabilities. Just to sort of turn this once again around for your viewing pleasure, as it were. But these nacelles, you can see how they're attached. That it's, you know, some of it is metallic, some of it is plastic, and it wouldn't take a lot of, if you were looking to have these in the hands of perhaps robustly playing children, you might want to rethink that, because candidly, I genuinely don't think this ship would survive that. I don't think many of them would survive that. You know, that's not really what they've been designed for, and I appreciate fully that they are the kind of, they're very kinetic, that you do really want to get your hands on them when you get them out of the box. They really do sort of call out to you to hold and, you know, play and display a bit, really. And so I totally get that, but I would always urge a degree or more of caution in terms of exactly how they are handled and where and how you manage to display them to really optimize that displayability that they can give you. You may be wondering whether or not this is, or you may have been wondering whether this is a ship that belongs in your collection. Well, you've probably gathered from my opinion that it's definitely one I'm glad is in my collection. In terms of your collection, well, if you're a Star Trek fan and you love the Enterprise and the ships of the line, then you're going to want to add this to your collection. Yes, it has appeared in its Excelsior livery. It's also appeared in the smaller, cheaper collectibles range from Hero Collector. I am, as many of you will be aware now, I am not a collector of those smaller ships. My time, effort and investment is in the larger ships such as this, the XL range, and maybe occasionally some of the special edition ranges, depending what the models are of. But certainly I do appreciate the craftsmanship that goes into all of them. It's a well-made, well-representing model of the Enterprise-B. I've come to accept that for the size and the price point, there may be some compromises in terms of accuracy of colorization and paint. However, on balance, for what you're getting, it's for me a winner. It stands up well against the other ships, and if you're a collector completist like I am, it's a no-brainer as to whether or not you're going to purchase this ship. Do keep an eye out on the Eagle Moss and Hero Collector websites to purchase, because often the B is one of those that does sell out. I think hopefully because other people have the same affection for it that I do. So you may need to turn on notifications with them for when it's back in stock. Similarly, if you strike lucky, you could get it. Do watch out for some of their flash sales. They're routinely doing flash sales, and often the XL editions benefit hugely from seeing something between 20 to 50% off at any given time during those flash sales. So do sign up for some of their stuff. That's an independent view. I'm not in any way engaged by them to push that. It's just from my own experience. I've been able to pick up a few additional models across their various ranges simply because they've offered some of those discount rates, and I've been lucky enough to be able to get on board at the right time. I'm going to zoom out a little bit just to try and get it a bit more in the full shot as I wrap up this video. So hopefully I've been able to give you a close-up look at the model of the Enterprise-B XL range from Eagle Moss and Hero Collector. You've been able to make a decision as to whether or not it belongs in your collection from what you've seen, and you know what, either way, it's your choice to make, and you will make the right one for yourself, for your budget, and for your collectible desires. I don't quite know what collectible desires are. It sounds a bit dodgy. So delete that from your mind and just go with your what's best for your collection. That's much better. So if you have found this useful in forming a decision as to whether or not this is something that you think you'd like to acquire, then by all means hit that like button. Similarly, if you've now seen it, you've gone, no, actually I'm really glad I've not purchased it yet, then I'm happy to be of help in clarifying that decision with you. And again, it's really great for the channel if you could hit that like button. Similarly, whilst we're on that topic, if you don't mind subscribing to the channel, that would be great, because then you'll never miss any unboxings of new Hero Collector stuff, of other stuff from Character Options around some of the Doctor Who ranges, from Hasbro, Tomy and Takara regarding some of the Transformers range. There's all sorts of things that I'll be covering in these videos, and hopefully you don't want to miss any of them. Anyway, thank you so much for spending the last 19 or 20 odd minutes with me looking at the Enterprise-B, which is one of my favourite models. So I'm really glad and hope that you were able to feel some of my enthusiasm for this ship. You have been a fantastic audience for the last 20 odd minutes. Thank you so much. If you found some of this of interest, again, you may also want to check out some of my toy photography shots over on my Instagram page, which is Time Travelling Toy Collector, and I'd love to see you there as well. In the meantime, I look forward to seeing you at my next video. I have been the Time Travelling Toy Collector. This has been the USS Enterprise-B from Star Trek Generations, as produced by Hero Collector, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. In the meantime, do remember that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care, and one to beam up.